Hey, everybody. Nevin Gusak, your host of the Populist Patriot. Some more news. CNBC.com. Jim Cramer reports that tech CEOs tell me they're, quote, sick of spoiled Silicon Valley employees. And this was published CNBC.com. Crystal Herr, June 9th, 2022. And Jim Cramer is a lead financial commentator on CNBC, the program Mad Money. And he said that he expects a, quote, tech exodus from California in the future, with one of the drivers being tech leaders' dissatisfaction with their employees. Cramer, who has spent the week in San Francisco, said he's hearing that, quote, many of the CEOs out here have had it with younger workers telling them what to do and when and where and how they want to work. They're tired of the San Francisco workforce, which they think is full of spoiled nitwits who are there one day and gone the next, Cramer added. He did not name these executives whom he said he talked off air to. The Mad Money host said that such frustration could end up benefiting other parts of the country, with tech firms, quote, moving to areas of the country where they can hire talented people for the big question, way less money. Oh boy, those job creators always want it cheap. Way less money. People who will have more loyalty to the business and accountability to the CEO, if only because they'll have fewer options to jump ship. There you go. There you go. There you go. Really? Cramer pointed out, adding he's, quote, heard Atlanta mentioned several times. Austin is always in the mix, and of course, Florida. There you go. There you go. There you go. They go into right-to-work states and at-will employee states like Florida because they want cheap labor. Cheap labor. That's all this is. It's all about getting the most from employees for the least amount of compensation and benefits. Ladies and gentlemen, workers help make the company. Let's explain economics, actual real-world economics of how business works. That makes sense. That's not counterintuitive, and it's not callous Ayn Rand crap. And that is that employees are necessary for the survival of a business, just like investors are. The two can't coexist without the other. Shitting on the employees is not going to necessarily make a better workforce. Keeping your employees in fear and underpaying them is not going to generate loyalty. I don't know how to explain this. Companies that practice stakeholder capitalism, do your research, Google it. Companies that have more balanced relations between an active workforce that takes ownership of their work, combined with the fact with an investor and ownership class that is interested in the welfare of the workers and interested in the long-term viability of the company, and yes, ensuring that they make, yes, profit. Nothing wrong with big profits. But you can't do it by just shitting all over your workers and paying them the lowest possible wage. Because these workers also spend money in the communities. They buy homes, they buy cars, they raise families. You need money to raise families. You know, there are real social, societal benefits when you pay your workers a good wage, when you encourage employment policies and workplace policies that encourage good work-life balance. And tech CEOs tend to be, if they can get away with it, they tend to be biased towards very cheap labor. It's no small wonder that you have many tech firms, tech manufacturers that produce in communist China with the workforce that is very severely controlled by the Communist Party structures. That's all it comes down to. And Jim Cramer supports them. People like Jim Cramer, they don't have your interests at heart. He has Wall Street's interests at heart. He has the multinational corporations at heart. He is there to represent majority shareholders in corporate America. I'm not saying they shouldn't have a seat at the table, but things for decades in the United States have been way, way, way out of balance, much in favor of the super wealthy at the expense of everyone else. People like Jim Cramer, their opinions, and these tech CEOs, they are the problem. And all they want to do is they want to do what the textile firms did in the 1940s. They wanted to runaway companies. They used to be called runaway shops. They ran away from New England to escape the high wages and the strong unions to go to the South where there were lower wages. And then they escaped the United States, including the South, like North and South Carolina, to Mexico and elsewhere, particularly starting and accelerating in the 1970s and 1980s when that started. Companies have to invest in their workforce. Now, when a company is doing badly, there has to be shared sacrifice, no doubt about it. But when companies are making hand over fist profits, like the tech firms, they need to have a better attitude. This is why younger people are embracing socialism as opposed to any form of capitalism. And it's people like Jim Cramer and these tech CEOs that are the reason for that. They are pouring gasoline on the fire and the flames of socialism and communism and a general anti-capitalist, anti-business. And there's good reason. So there you go. Another out of touch Wall Street commentator, Wall Street friendly commentator, and out of touch un-American tech CEOs. And this is why we need a new economic structure here in the United States that subordinates at times the needs of the big capitalists to that of the national interests for the sake of social stability, national solidarity, and national security. And that ends this live stream, and more to come.